the beginning of cultural collapse, and it's about to get worse thanks to your friend Damien Stevens. Hello and welcome back to the Doctor Who Marathon. I'm your host McEdam, and today we're going to be talking about the audio drama Energy of the Daleks, written by Nicholas Briggs, commonly known for the voice of the Daleks and producer of Big Finish. This is a two-part audio adventure, and it's the first time that we're doing this is that the actor, the Doctor, has appeared in the audio drama Doctor Who series. I mean, Tom Baker, as we've seen, is been in the River Song story. It's also important to note that this is actually the first audio drama Tom Baker recorded for Big Finish. He was supposed to, this story was actually supposed to set off the Fourth Doctor Adventures range, to set that off. But they didn't want it to clash with another Dalek story that was going to air at the same time. So they pushed it back a bit so that the timing could all work. It's also an important story for me personally, as this is my first Big Finish story that I ever bought. I heard that Tom Baker was back. It had my favourite companion, Leela, and she finally gets to meet the Daleks. Now, as well with these audio dramas, this is the official Big Finish CD cover. I make a DVD cover. This one I found on the internet, though I changed the picture on the side. That's the back. I can't remember who made this design. It says here cover illustrated by Alex Mantelson, but that might be the guy who did this. I think I got it off DeviantArt. Yeah, the only real thing I changed is that these pictures here were different, and so I photoshopped them on and printed that out, and I got it there. Yeah, you can see there's a bit of damage on the box. There's a bit of damage on there. I've had this since it came out back in 2012 or 2013, if I remember correctly. 2012. My God. I've almost had this for 10 years. That's just... Now, the thing about Nicholas Briggs as a writer is that he has two distinct writing styles. He either goes for, which I'm going to say, his A stories, in which the characters are very simple, but have a very complex storyline. Or he has what I will call the B story, where he will write simple stories but have complicated characters with a lot of character moments. And this is a type B Nicholas Briggs story. The story is very simple. The Doctor lands in London in 2025. So this story is set 5 years from now. And him and Leela go and visit London, and they go to Trafalgar Square to see a protest, as there's a company, Globesphere, that's going to give off a huge amount of energy, a new clean energy resource, but they're putting the prices extremely high and threatening to just stop all the power for the poor people, keeping the rich rich and the poor poor. And one of the characters, Jack, played by Mark Benton. For those of you who don't know, Mark Benton probably is most known to Doctor Who fans as playing Clive in the Ninth Doctor story Rose, but I've known him for playing one of the teachers in Waterloo Road. He becomes like a second companion throughout this adventure. He teams along with the Doctor and travels with him throughout the majority of the story, and we get to see the world through Jack's perspective, and I really like this character. He feels like the everyman who's been screwed over by the higher-ups. He later explains that his backstory, basically, that him and his friend Damien Stevens were used to be partners, and Damien used to be the big idea person, and then Jack used to be or the technical one, the one who makes things happen, basically. But then one day, out of nowhere, Damien started being a bit more independent, and when he did that, he kind of just abandoned Jack and started up Globesphere, and it seemed really out of character for him because Damien's mother actually passed away because she was a bit poorer than most people. They took out all of her energy and she died in the cold. And this is what I'm on about. The story tackles very heavy themes for characters. As Jack explains this to the Doctor, you can see that he's really broken by this. He can't understand the fact why his friend, whose mother passed away, would then basically betray her for money. It just didn't seem like him, and the Doctor tries to explain that it's like maybe it's like something empowering stuff. But we later learn that Damien Stevens is actually being semi-mind controlled by our little green blob monster, the Daleks. I mean, the story is called Enter the Daleks. It's not going to be the bloody Cybermen, is it? And Nicholas Briggs voices the Daleks here. I can't remember if we've tackled a story where he's voiced them. He voiced them in the special edition of Day of the Daleks. And his voice, he's become the voice for the Daleks. I mean, he's been playing them for like years, and you cannot detach his voice with those petapops. And to hear him banter off with all these characters, especially the Fourth Doctor and Leela, it's just something genuine. So anyway, back at the protests, police start attacking civilians and starts arresting them. However, the Doctor slowly realises that there's something wrong with them, there's something not right, and Leela gets captured by them and is sent to the Dalek ship to be interrogated, to which she reveals that she's working with the Doctor. And when the Daleks, I love the scene in which the Daleks recognise the Doctor's voice, and Leela's just like, he's defeated you before, he will defeat you again. I really like Leela's moment. She doesn't have a lot to do. She kind of does blend into the background in this, but when she has her fun little moments, she's just very fun in this story. So, like I said, Leela gets kidnapped, and the Doctor works with Jack, who he's taken to an underground layer that him and only the Doctor and Winston Churchill knew back in World War II. So it's already implied that the Doctor has not only met Winston Churchill before the story, but he's also great friends with him, which is a storyline which would actually be followed up on in Victory of the Daleks, another Dalek story. That's really cool. And yeah, we get the whole story with Jack and stuff, and Doctor basically shows that he's a bit out of touch, as Clive has a portable television, and the Doctor doesn't really know what it is, and he uses his sonic screwdriver to knock out some of the Robomen, and with the frequency he gets to find out that the Daleks are involved in this adventure. It's important to note as well, I keep saying important to note, it seems to be my catchphrase. It's important to note that the Davros does not appear in this story. He's not even mentioned, making this the first performed media where the Fourth Doctor fights the Daleks without their creator. So that's really cool. Even both in our timeline and in real life as well. So that's really cool. Yeah, and so the Doctor slowly starts working his way into Damien Stevens' office, and he encounters the Daleks, and he saves Leela. And there's a small little moment I really like when Jack asks Leela, "Are you as barking mad as the Doctor?" And Leela really seriously goes, "I don't bark." I love that scene. And Jack's just like, oh, okay. And he just goes along for the ride. I really like... Maybe Jack should come back and become a companion. I would really like that. Maybe working off against the Fourth Doctor again, or maybe even the Sixth. I think that would work really well. And they slowly... They take down a Dalek and they slowly discover that there's a teleportation unit there which will take them onto the moon, and they go into the teleport system and they land in a bed and it turns out that Damien Stevens is lying in the bed with them, and the Doctor's like, "Of course, I knew that was going to happen." And Jack's just like, "What, you knew that we were going to land in Damien Stevenson's bed?" I really like that moment. And the Doctor's like, "Quick, let's get us all out of here and bring him along with us." And the Doctor and the crew basically get held at gunpoint by some people who work for Damien, who have been concerned because he seemed out of touch and he seems like he was getting unwell. And earlier on in the story, they have a video in his bedroom where he looks distorted, and they're concerned about him. So they're basically normal people. They don't know what's going on. And the Doctor slowly starts to convince them. One of them is actually played by Dan Starkey, most famously known for playing the Sontarans. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and like I said, you can see where I'm coming from, where the storyline itself is very simple. It's basically just the Doctor and Leela teaming up with a group of people to try and track down where the Daleks is and slowly destroy them. Damien wakes up and he tries to deflect all the Doctor's ways of interrogating him, but he slips that the Daleks are going to use the energy that they make to basically make a gravity shield around the Earth, which will knock the moon out, creating mass havoc on Earth with extreme weather, which will destroy all life on Earth. I don't know the logistics of that. I don't think it will work that way, but it's a pretty neat concept, and it really works for a Dalek story. And so the Doctor does some tinkering as he needs a distraction because Damien is at the controls. So he asks Jack to try and talk to him to see if he can reason with him, because he's not a Robo-Man. He's just slightly altered by the Daleks, slightly to the mind. So he could be reasoned with. He can be talked back into normality. And so Jack talks to Damien about his mother, and he gets really upset. And there's some tears, some brilliant acting by both the actors. And like I said, Nicholas Briggs is great at writing. He's great at writing complicated characters in a simple premise. It really does work well. And the Doctor slowly, spoilers, by the way, this is the ending of the story. The Daleks go and leave, and they decide they're going to use this gravity shield. However, the Doctor's alternate, so instead of the shield appearing around Earth, it appears around the Dalek ship, to which they get destroyed. Ending the story, and yeah, it works. It feels a little bit too similar to Remembrance of the Daleks, in which the Doctor tricks them to use a device that they think will destroy the Earth, but in reality it destroys themselves because the Doctor's been tampering with it. But it does emphasise that the Daleks are so stubborn that they kind of think two steps ahead, not thinking about what's actually happening now, and the Doctor uses that to his advantage. So that's Energy of the Daleks. Overall, it's a very... I mean, I might be a bit... what's the word? I might be a bit biased about the story because, like I said, it was my first Doctor Who audio drama, and it had my favourite companion finally meeting the Daleks, even though they don't really have that much to do with each other in this story. But I really like the characters. I really like the simple premise. I personally prefer when Nicholas Briggs writes simple characters for a complicated plot. But this story shows that he can do his second style very efficient as well. And I actually consider this a great story to jump on to Big Finish. I mean, I did, and look at me now. Yeah, so Energy of the Daleks, go listen to it. Brilliant fun. I hope you enjoy if you listen to it. So join me next time when we go back to find out what Jago and Lightfoot are up to. And somebody seems to be risen from the grave. So join me next time for the Bavelian Devil. See you next time on the Doctor Who Marathon. Ta-ra.